I'm Sergeant Jimmy Wyman with the Hampton Police Division. We've prepared an informational video to assist motorists to understand the interaction between officers and themselves during a traffic stop. Traffic enforcement is very important as it reduces the number of accidents or the severity of the accidents that occur. Hopefully you'll gather great information from this video and take something from it. Please drive safely. The Hampton Police Division is committed to the safety and well-being of its citizens while in their homes and traveling on our streets and roads. Our traffic enforcement efforts are intended to promote voluntary compliance with the laws and ordinances of the highway, thereby reducing the number of accidents or reducing the incidence of injuries and property damage when those accidents occur. In the first stop, an officer monitoring an intersection controlled by a four-way stop sign observes a vehicle fail to stop. The officer follows the vehicle, calls in the tag information, and conducts a traffic stop. The officer will approach the vehicle, identify themselves and the agency they represent. A description of the violation or observation which necessitated the stop will be given, and the officer will request the driver's operator's license and registration. During your contact with the officer, your cooperation is important. Keep your hands visible, make slow movements, and tell the officer if a weapon, example, knife or gun, is present in the vehicle. Depending on the location of the vehicle stop, you may be asked to move to a safer and better lit location for your safety as well as the officer's safety. The officer will determine if the violation requires the issuance of a summons or a warning is more suitable. At no time should this become an opportunity for chastising or lecturing by the officer, just as it is not the time to argue with the officer or dispute the law. Remain calm, and if a summons is issued, present your case before a judge. When a summons is issued, the officer will approach the driver, explain the charge, and describe the process for addressing the summons. When the summons is presented for a signature, it is not an admission of guilt, rather confirmation of the information provided to the officer and a promise to appear in the court or prepay the fines. Remember, this is not the time to dispute the summons. Not only could it delay the length of the stop, but also refusal to sign the summons could result in an appearance before the magistrate and towing of your vehicle. If you have a concern regarding your traffic stop that cannot be resolved by the officer, you may follow up later at any time with the supervisor.
Hey, boys.
Officer, it's okay. I'm Armenian.
I stopped you because you were going 80 miles per hour.
No, I was going somewhere around 60.
My radar says 80.
No, I was going 60 miles.
Yeah, I looked too, and we were going 80 miles per hour.
That's what I said. And you aren't even wearing your seatbelts.
We were, but when you stop us, we take it off.
Take it off? We never wearing seatbelt. Why are we taking off for?
Ora, shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Sir, you always let your friend talk to you like that?
He's not my friend. He's my brother. And he only getting like this when he's drunk.
I'm gonna have to ask you to step out of the car.
I'm Chief Jordan with the police department. You know, you've been watching an awareness video that we've tried to bring to you in reference to how we go about conducting traffic stops. Part of our public safety strategy is to make sure that the traveling public is safe going from point A to point B. As you travel from home to work or work to school to pick up kids, we want to ensure that you can do that safely. Many times traffic violations are seen by police officers and they take it upon themselves to enforce the laws that they are sworn to enforce. As a result of that, you'll have encounters with them on various levels of traffic infractions. It is important to keep in mind that every time they stop a car, they're putting together all the training that they've had in the past as they approach your vehicle. So many times you see them doing different things and you don't necessarily understand why they do what they do, but you got to understand as well that they don't know who's in the car that may be wanted in this state or another state for any types of violations. Most importantly, they want to ensure that they have an appropriate, professional, and courteous interaction with you. Many times during these traffic stops, other things come to our attention, such as drugs being in cars or maybe guns being in cars. And we take different types of enforcement action as a result of that. It is important to remember that these officers have an obligation to do things correctly according to the Constitution, according to the statutes of Virginia, and they want to do it with as much professionalism and courtesy to you as possible. So as they go about their business, they're going to try to quickly bring to an end the encounter so that you can be on your way. They also they want to go home at the end of their shift, and I want them to go home at the end of the shift. So I want them to play things safely. I want them to keep you safe. I want them to keep themselves safe. And I think during this awareness video, you're going to see just how well trained the Hampton Police Division is as they serve the citizens of this community.
Well, the first thing I would advise is certainly don't argue with the officer. Get the ticket, be polite, and if you feel your constitutional rights have been violated, or even more fundamentally, if you feel you didn't deserve the ticket that you got, you certainly have three options really. You can certainly go see a lawyer such as myself and lay out your case about why you think you were pulled over for little or no reason, or that there was no valid basis for receiving a ticket. You certainly can challenge this matter yourself in court in an unrepresented basis. The courts, certainly in Hampton, are very receptive to people coming before them on their own without benefit of counsel and making their case. And certainly the third option is you can make a complaint to the police department itself through their Office of Internal Affairs. I would recommend that last option be pursued after your legal options have been completely exhausted. My suggestion would be, if you feel your constitutional rights have been violated, the first thing you need to do is write down in as much detail what happened, and then make an appointment to see a lawyer and lay out for that lawyer exactly all the circumstances that gave rise to the stop, gave rise to the ticket, and let the lawyer give you some legal advice. It may well be that the lawyer may agree with you that your rights have been violated, that it was an impermissible stop, and pursue that with the court with the hope and expectation that the charge would be dismissed. And there are certain situations where you'd have a right for some civil remedies. After those options are exhausted, that's when you would make the complaint against the police officer itself through the police officer's administrative process, Internal Affairs. My biggest caution, my biggest note to the citizens of Hampton is do not argue with the police at the scene. There's nothing to be gained and a lot to be lost.
Usually you pull over in a lit area.
I knew to get my license out. I knew to get my registration out and proof of insurance.
Just pulled over where it was safe and waited for the police officer to come and talk to me.
Keep your hand on the steering wheel.
I stopped and I pulled my driver's license and my registration card.
Well, they ask you questions, you answer them, and then they either give you a ticket or you don't.
Be patient, and I found that's probably the best way to go.
Let him speak to you, and then let him make his command from there, and then you answer him, and you give him your driver's license or whatever information he asks for.
In terms of why and how situations evolve for police stops are multiple. We get many requests from citizens in the community about various issues in terms of their neighborhoods that precipitate stops. There are situations that revolve around safety in that particular context. So those in the situations precipitate some types of stops. And then there are some suspicious situations that precipitate stops anyway. Our concern is that people know that these are reasons for being stopped and what their rights and responsibility are at the time that they're being stopped.